The next thing I want to show you is something called the arc command. Now, this is probably one of the most complicated commands in Unix, because not only is it a command in and of itself, but it also has the capability for you to run scripts inside it. Okay, now I'll just give you an example here, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run the PS command. Now, we haven't seen this yet, but what PS does is it allows you to list all running processes on your system. And I'm going to do that by giving it AUX as variables to run this, right? Which shows all running process regardless of user and so forth. So hit enter. You can see that list is pretty huge, right? We have probably thousands upon thousands of entries in there. All right, so what I can see, however, is that it's all divided up into columns. So we have a name, we have a process ID, we have dates and times in here, we have like full path names and all kinds of wonderful stuff, right? Now, what if I just wanted to see what items were being run by me, by my user, right? So I could do PS AUX, and I could do grep Lee Whitfield. All right, hit enter, and as you can see, we've pulled in a few items here. The only problem is this is going to pull in Lee Whitfield no matter where that is found, including like here, right, inside the actual content itself. So that's not going to give us a fair reflection of how many are being run here, right? Which we show as 436. All right. Now, like I said, that's going to pull in Lee Whitfield regardless of whether I started the process or whether something else has started the process and my name just happens to be in there. So what I can do is that I can do PS AUX and I can pipe that into an awk command. In awk, I can then do an interior script, right, which goes within these single quote marks and these like curled braces or brackets, if you will. And inside here, I'm going to do another command, print $1. What this now does is that this says pull back only the first column in the table of results. All right, so let's take a look at what that does. Ah, there we go. All right, so now as we look at this, there's quite a few items there. We can say, all right, we'll do another pipe and do grep Lee Whitfield. Okay, hit enter. There's all of those. We can do another word count, right? So now we're piping 4 different commands together. We get 437 this time, right? So clearly there's something weird going on here, all right? So what we might want to do is at this point we think, well, we'd quite like to see like unique values, all right? So I can use the uniq command, and it will say, like, based on the order of items, right, and there's still quite a few in here, unique items as they're found together. So there's Lee Whitfield, there is something else, there's root again. So what happens is that every time there's a separation in the list of these names, it's going to paste them again, right? It's going to put them in the list once more. So what we can do is that we can force this into a sort. Now what sort will do, it will put everything into alphabetical order. All right, so then whenever you do the uniq command, what should happen is that instead of multiple entries for Lee Whitfield and root this time, we get one of each, right? Now I can also do a -C for unique, and it will tell me how many there are, 436. All right, or I could do another pipe, WC-L for number of lines. And you can tell, oh yeah, it actually gives me the full number of unique accounts here instead of Lee Whitfield. So what I might do instead then is do a grep for Lee Whitfield, then pipe it into WC. Right, let's see how many commands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different commands piped together now. And for whatever reason, it's messed up. Oh, it's because I've done that. All right, let's get rid of the unique. Now this should work. 437. Oh, I give up. All right, but you get the general idea, right? There's something in there which is doing a pretty good job here. Now, if we now go back to our file from earlier on, right? Our example.csv file. This is ordered by first name, last name. Now, one of the cool things about awk is that we can take these different fields and play with them, right? So let me just show you what I mean here. So first thing is that I'm going to do a quick awk, and I'm going to tell it to print the first field, right, which is the first name, and that's it, okay, for example.csv. Except that didn't work. Now, why didn't it work? Well, first of all, what can we see? Right, so we see first up here, not first space name or any of the things going afterwards, but we also get all of the fields in here as well. So there's a reason for this. Is that because by default, what awk does is that it takes space as a delimiter in the content. If you want to use something else other than space, you have to add a command line switch, -F, and tell it what that delimiter is going to be. So in this case, single quote marks, and we put the comma down there because that is what is delimiting the stuff over here. Now, if I hit enter, there we go. First name and all the first names in there. All right. So now, let's say that I wanted to change the order of first name and last name. Okay. I'm going to push up to go back to my command. Now, we know that the second name is field 2. We know that the first name is field 1. And if I now hit enter, you'll see we get that with spaces, though, right? And the spaces is not particularly helpful because the rest of the file, right, it has commas in there. So we want to actually add something else, right? So in here, we're going to do double quotes, that, hit enter. Well, and now we get that, right? So, so there's that, right? We could then also go further in, and we could do, trying to think now, another comma for column 3, and another column for column 4. All right. Now, if I do this, right, let me just show you. Yes, now we get last name, first name, level, and state. All right, all comma separated, but kind of messed up comma separation here, right? This is not actually that helpful at all. I mean, it's clearly not working for us here, is it? This is also very, very messy, and there's going to be better ways of actually doing this, right? So you look over here, there's just too many spaces. It just looks crap, and our command also doesn't look great either. So what we're going to do instead, do awk-f, oops, uppercase F, that is. Tell it what our field separator is. then we're going to add a variable. So dash V, and there's a built-in variable called OFS, which is output field separator. Okay, and here I'm going to do equals, and I'm going to do this, right, which again is a comma. All right, so once we've done that, then I'm going to do print $2 for the second field. Oh, first of all, I need to make sure this is encapsulated with the single quotes, comma S, oh sorry, S, $1. All right, then $3, and then $4. $4. There we go. All right, and now when I hit enter, let's see what the difference is. Oh, except I didn't point it towards the file. That was a mistake. There. Now look. Oh, this looks much better now. Okay. All right. So now what we could do is that, let's say I like this and I want to keep it, right? So now I'm going to output that to example3.csv. And I need to spell example correctly. 3.csv. Hit enter, and now cat example3.csv shows all of that, which is wonderful, right? Now, I can see that most of these things all line up nicely, but I've got some spaces up here that I'm not particularly fond of. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use our sed command, okay? So sed -I, because we want to change the original file, and we're going to do what? We are going to say this, we're then going to give this, then substitute space last with just, oops, with just last, right? But space needs to be escaped in macOS and Linux. We do a backslash there, okay? So I'm going to do that. Let's give that a try and see what happens, okay? So example3.csv. Let's see what it does. It didn't do it. Well, I mean, actually it did, because if we now do cat of the file, oh look, that first space is gone, right? So now we have last name, first name, space level, space state, right? So we want to go in, do a couple more seds, right? So we can do level for level, taking out that first space, and then also state with a space in front of it for state without a space in front of it. And now, whenever we do cat example3, what do we have? Ah, perfect, right? So now we can do awk-f, tell it what our delimiter is, and then just say print, and let's say we wanted to do the state, right? So S4, because it's the fourth field there. Hit enter. Ugh, and I forgot the file name again. Sorry, example3.csv. And there you go. Now there's no space in front of the state, and everything lines up perfectly. Now, if you want to get a little bit crazy here, right? You want to see everywhere, like anyone that is in California, right? If we just want to print all the records which are in California, okay, I can just do California, right, and do another character there, and I can do print 0, which is going to print the whole line in this case. All right, so let me just show you this. There you go. Now it just shows the 3 people in California, and I could also, if I was working with a large number of data, a large number of data items, and I wanted to know how many there were, I could just pipe that into a word list, and it would tell me how many lines there are. So there you go, 3 records in total from inside there. And that's about it for today. So yeah, that's how to use the awk command and a few other commands that we've thrown in there as well. Come back next time to see what else we do.